love how you don't mind answering our specific questions and like taking the time so that we understand it. And now I feel so much more confident with the contract and making us do that timeline. That was really important.
It was something that was helpful for me, so I knew it would play off for you guys. Like, this is your mastermind, so let's work around questions like, what are you working on? What can we do to help with? Mike, how's your scheduling been? I know you just picked up another coach.
I haven't picked it up yet. So far, everything I'm doing is still pertaining to real estate for this week, and I've got a couple jobs I need to pick up and move forward with to keep those clients happy. But we just went under contract on one last night, and that was one thing I wanted to bring up today is what do I need to know about super fund? That's what the SPUD said. It's in a super fund area.
Super funds it depends on which one it is. It could be as simple as it used to be on an old gas land, but you could have higher tax rates.
Okay.
So, and some lenders won't lend on super fund sites. So.
Okay. Yeah, because they just updated the SPUDs last night after we went under contract, and that was part of it.
Yeah, you want to make sure you contact your lender and have that conversation with them.
Okay.
Eileen, on your deals with your clients, what's one thing you've learned so far?
A lot. Timeline and patience.
Okay. What specifically?
Okay, so my client was I guess because it was my first listing, it was really hard from the beginning it started and then to the end, because it's at the same time we have to keep looking for a house and then focus on the selling part, and I was overwhelmed. How's that? So it was like, I don't even know, like they want my seller to go to the title security tomorrow, and I thought they can just send it over through computer and sign it through, computer, and my client doesn't need to go, but apparently they have to. So
yeah, no, all signing needs to be done in front of a notary. And
I thought it's just the buyer. Like, if it's the seller doesn't need to be present, it's just the buyer.
No, they're not present together. They have to go down separately and sign.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, definitely something. Good question to ask, because you didn't know that situation. I can see how easy it is to be, confused by it.
Right, because when like personal experience, when we bought our house, we never saw the seller. So I thought it was just, the seller doesn't need to go to the title security or something like that. So
yeah, they try not to put them together so that there's no conflict.
Okay, now I know.
Yes, good question. What else you got working there, Miss Robin?
So, well, my one that's under contract, I learned a lot going with the Binzer, and it was really helpful talking with the agent beforehand, like you suggested, so that we could have the win-win, because my buyer was threatening to walk away if the seller wasn't willing to meet him halfway, but then she did. So now I'm just getting them through with Keller Mortgage, and it's a delayed close, so I don't know. I wish it wasn't a delayed close, but that's how the seller came down so much to meet their price, so that she has time to find a home.
Yeah, like we talked about, that sometimes the closing date is the negotiating point you need.
Right, that's what she wanted. But so now I just worry that it's, so far off August 31st, but just to keep everything in place. Like on the broker call today, they were saying that the lender won't even get it together until the last minute, even when they have all that time. So I don't know if there's anything I need to do to make sure it stays in good shape.
Yeah, just make sure you keep on top of it. Timelines, check them out. So the one thing I heard in that is that you said talking to the other agent made it work out. I think Renee learned that even though one listing agent says that the seller absolutely won't do something, having a conversation and moving forward will change that. What'd you learn, Renee?
I mean, yeah, that's exactly it.
What was the situation?
The listing agent said that they would not cover any sellers or buyers closing fees, concessions.
And what'd they do?
They ended up taking it. So
Yeah, they took it. They took it all.
yeah.
So what do you think was the hinging point on that?
Well, they had 2 other offers on it, I know for sure. So we clearly had the stronger offer to begin with. Otherwise, I don't think we would have gotten it. But
So, anyone else out there about offers? Just a couple of you guys gonna be working in this price point. The offers that you need to work on, the 200 range, 150 to 250.
yeah.
If you need closing costs, you need to add them to the loan. You need to add them to the sales price at a minimum. So
Yeah, and I did the math, and even with that, the seller should still be getting like almost 2K over listing. So
yeah, 1,800 over list.
yeah, that's 1780 something is what I had added it up to be.
And that's what I told the listing agent. I called the listing agent, had a conversation with him. His title says associate broker, and there has been nothing but issues on the contract.
I will avoid him as much as possible. I will say that.
His seller signed on the buyer's lines, initialed on the buyer's lines, didn't have the wife sign.
Didn't update with the new listing.
Sent back counter 2, signed under the top part where the person generating the counter signs. His seller signed up there. So we didn't know if they accepted, countered, or whatever.
I had one of those the other day because I put in an offer on a condo. Remember, Dan, I think I asked you about the HOA where they signed the seller's acceptance or the seller acceptance before the buyer even saw the HOA, and she was an associate broker as well.
Yeah, so that's just the thing is the associate broker, to become a broker, all you have to do is be licensed 3 out of the last 5 years. You don't even have to be in production. There's a guy that came off of one of our teams who's never sold a house and is going to take his broker's license.
Wow.
Because he's been licensed for 6 years now.
And I will say too, this being my first deal, I think it's been really helpful that it's also the homeowner or like the buyer's first time owning a home too, because I'm learning just as they're learning. So I don't feel like belittled at all by them when I don't know.
That was important. Like, I would have never placed you with a client that would have been difficult for you because you're first. Yeah. And I saw the opportunity there, knowing the path that I want you to go down is learning with them versus learning on somebody who knows what's supposed to happen and just trucking you the whole way. Yeah. So you're gonna join in the excitement.
And we clicked right away too, so it wasn't like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a very good first. Hopefully everything works out.
Super glad you guys clicked. I'm super excited you got a deal on it. I know Robin's gonna have one soon because I know that that Satin and Mitch are hot on the trot. So.
Well, and even if we are learning as we go, as long as we're like super responsive and working really hard and doing the research for the buyers, I feel like they feel fine. And we have the resources and the team and you backing us. So that gives us the confidence. Yeah, so I feel like we are giving them great service.
Yeah, that's what, when I talk about that servicing, it's the same as the myth understanding is that none of my clients are going to work with anyone else. The myth understanding is your clients work with your expectations of what gets done. Now, when you guys become high enough in your businesses and you build this team out and you have buyer's agents and listing agents and admin agents and all this stuff, they're going to work to the level of your expectation. That comes from your support. same thing shines on with you guys and me. I want you all to work to my level of expectation for yourselves and your businesses. So I'm always going to drive and push you to be the best that I know you can be. And sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable. Sometimes it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be nice. And I'm not all rainbows and puppy dogs. Sometimes it's going to require a little standing in the weeds and drowning a little bit just to realize that, oh, this is a serious situation, and then get pulled out. So as long as you're responsive, as long as you're respective of their time, and you understand the severity of the situation that you're helping them through, doesn't matter how many deals you've done, as long as you take care of the client. There's a term that you don't need to be the expert, you just need to be professional. And that means doing what needs to get done to get the job done. Bless you. Who's doing anything for ad gen right now? Ad generation. Not just lead generation, but doing an ad and running something and getting behind it.
That's something I want to do. Just trying to find the time to do it. Make the time to do it.
Yeah. You got 30 minutes tomorrow? Sometime?
Should be able to make 30 minutes, yeah.
Okay. Then
I really want to get an ad going to do some lead generation.
let's get something going. Let's pick a listing and let's get rolling on it. I want you to set up 30 minutes tomorrow. If you need to call and ask for help, myself, Heather, Jesse, I'm sure that one of us is available to walk you through it. I'm getting the head nod, yeah. Because I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to throw hundreds at it. I'm going to generate leads and get you guys into business. And I think everyone needs to do the same thing. Generate your own leads. I don't want you throwing money at stuff you don't need to. Let's go on there. Like the first 15 deals I sold that were not direct friends and family came from Facebook groups. And that came from me going out in the group pages and sharing the nice properties that I liked and engaging in conversations with these people, and then creating relationships and doing the exact same thing I tell and teach every day. It's all about the relationship building. It's adding the value to their life and then asking for the business. And every one of you on this call is way more personable than I am. I found it very successful to do around 9 o'clock at night. Other than Mike in here that's out there in his shop vinyling a 90-foot station wagon at 9 o'clock at night, who else doesn't have a couple of 20, 30 minutes at 9 o'clock at night, kick your feet up, get your laptop out, go on to the Tucson rent to own page?
I have like 4 people now that I've helped find rentals and such that, I mean, they've all said they'll come to me when they're ready to buy out here. So it's keeping contact with them too. So, but that's where I found the majority of people that I've gotten leads from is Facebook.
Everybody's on social media right now. Do some Instagram stories. Do some Facebook stories.
Yeah, and there's like 5 or 6 like everything Tucson things, Tucson stuff, et cetera, et cetera. And as long as you're following it, it'll pop up on your home feed too. I just found somebody today that way. So it's moving in 2 months.
And that's where it's at. Let's go and go do your command. Who doesn't know how to access the recruiting area on command?
The recruiting area?
Yeah, have you guys, the referral area? I call it the recruiting area. I recruit agents out of those areas, but so command referrals where you can see your patterns. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
My role?
Yeah.
So sharing my screen if you don't mind. Right here on the left, the applet, it's got the little dude with or chick person, the anamorphic referral tab. Go to map. You can see on the map, you can go to the market centers, you can look at who's in your network, and you can go to referral patterns. And you can say, okay, we're going to see first, it defaults to referrals being sent. Let's go to referrals being received. Where do you need to go make some friends?
LA,
Probably here.
Colorado.
Omaha. Seattle.
I may have to go to Florida and do it in person though.
Might have to. I mean, shit, Heather was supposed to be there on Wednesday.
Some
Miami.
states are making Arizona residents quarantine for 14 days if they fly there now.
Probably because we're a hot spot.
It was just announced today that there's like 3 or 4 states that are doing it.
Welcome to Arizona, guys. We are the hot spot. We were the Wild West, last ones to learn and figure out, and then all of a sudden, bam, now we're a hub. But I want you guys to make some friends. Go search Omaha real estate and go put something in there. Hey, guys, Arizona's awesome. Thinking about moving to Tucson? Maybe not right now because of the coronavirus, but still, there's still quite a bit of activity in these areas. So go make friends. These are things you can do for free. Utilize the resources that are in front of you. Everybody on social media has access to each other. All you got to do is search. It's only going to show you the things that you interact with and engage with on a constant. So go outside of that. Let's build your sphere somewhere else. Why can't Renee Jessica be a name brand in Omaha, Nebraska? She's the go-to resource for Tucson. Michael Whining, he's the go-to for all of Oregon. Come on now.
I got Iowa. I got Iowa though.
You claiming Iowa?
I have a friend that works at Keller Williams in Iowa before I even moved here. So
There you go. One of the 6 people in Iowa.
there's more than that.
But that's the thing. So what are other ways that for free that you can go out and get some leads?
Are you talking about like running campaigns in those areas, like on Facebook, or I mean, is that?
If you want to throw some money behind it, then yeah. If you want to do an ad in those areas, that's one way of doing it because it'll be just an ad in those areas. Or you go and find those groups that are in Omaha, Omaha real estate, Omaha, everything.
Yeah, I'm in one from my hometown too.
Close.
And actually, somebody from my hometown did reach out to me.
There you go. I got a lot of
We
people.
added each other as referral partners. So
There you go. So throw that on there. I hear a lot of people from Omaha are moving to Tucson, Arizona. I want to be your agent of choice. If you're thinking about moving, hit me up. I see the wheels turning, Mikey. I see the wheels turning.
They are. They're always turning. I got to get them to stop and do something with it.
So let's all write down five lead generation machines you can use, both paid or free. Okay? Give me one.
campaigns get paid.
I would say call in agents from another city. I called family. I have family in Jeffersonville, Indiana, and I was looking for somebody that serves the Indiana and Louisville area. And I talked to 2 different agents last week. So I don't know, consider one, but if that was free, and I'm establishing some rapport.
Cool. Hope comes out of the gate with a free one. I like it. I like that. Go
And
make a referral partner.
Yeah, speaking of that, I have family in Indiana, and I messaged them last month and was like, hey, I'm just updating my contacts and don't have your address. So that's something I did do. So you can send that to.
Okay, what's number 2? Give me a second one, guys.
Can we say free cost?
What was
Because I've
that?
been free or low cost. I've been canvassing the area with flyers saying, how much is your home worth? How much is my home worth? Great question. And then with my name on it. Like, I live and work in your area.
So what do you mean by canvassing?
It's low cost.
What do you mean by canvassing?
Dropping off flyers to my neighbors on my, well, I can knock now.
Yeah, door knocking is.
Door knocking. So
People don't like to answer their door. They like to answer their ring. That was my experience with door knocking.
it's okay. It's okay, but she's absolutely right. You're leaving something behind.
Yeah.
So number 2, we can put canvassing and door knocking. Boots to the ground, right? What's the third one?
You can get a neighborhood list through a title company and call everybody.
What is that called?
Circle prospecting.
Okay.
Does anybody give you phone numbers for circle prospecting though?
Yeah.
For free?
If you guys want a neighborhood, I can circle prospect for that neighborhood. You give me an address, I'll circle prospect that house.
Can you get phone numbers too?
If they're listed.
Okay. I want you to do my neighborhood then because I have the names and addresses, but I don't have phone numbers.
Okay. Email me.
I will.
Okay. Number 4.
Well, I really want to do some Facebook campaigns, some featured listings. What
Okay.
goals to do with it?
Facebook ads, specifically listings, to showcase listings or to generate?
I was wanting to showcase listing to generate leads.
Generate buyers?
Yeah.
Okay. What are we going to put behind that dollar-wise? What do you think?
30 to 50 is what I'm looking at
$1 a month? Okay.
to start with.
Dan, I know that I didn't mean to interrupt, but you had asked if anybody was working on something. I'm coming off of a campaign in Oro Valley for that listing. And if it's any help, Michael, I got a lot more draw off of the Northwest property than I did in Oro Valley, surprisingly. I don't know if it had to do with price point, but I did much better at a lower price point, around 200,000 in Northwest Tucson, Marana.
Northwest Tucson's getting good business out there because I've done a couple open houses out there.
179 to 200, great price points for generating buyer leads, first-time buyer leads, rental leads.
Yeah.
I ran an ad on Craigslist once, a little Craigslist post for $130,000 trailer. Picked up a buyer. They're a retired couple out of Chandler, paid cash for it, and their daughter's listing their $400,000 house with me. So I don't know where my phone's at. It's ringing right now, so I have no idea where it's at.
Anybody have any good ideas for listing leads?
Keller Williams, Southern Arizona.
We have over 640 listings, so just get their permission. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, I'm doing an open house on Saturday, so I just texted Saturday and Sunday, so I just texted the agent and asked if he mind if I ran an ad.
Hey, Renee, did you get, I just sent you a chat on this. Did you get that?
Oh, I haven't read it yet.
So my chat was, if you go to a fast people search, since you're talking about your neighborhood, you can, if you can't do a circle prospect from anybody, go to fast people search, put in your own name, and it'll tell you your neighbors' names, phone numbers, and addresses. They're usually about 90% correct. Even if they're not, they still give you a phone number.
Yeah, there's a few in my neighborhood that are rentals, so those would be the.
I missed a little bit. Was that number 5?
Oh, I think we're at 5, yeah.
I apologize. That was the call on the listing Robin just showed, and that was the rudest call I've ever had. What did your client think? Well, they didn't like it. It seems that a level in the kitchen was smaller than they anticipated. Oh, click. All right, then. All right, cool.
Yeah, Jason, this pulls up all my old addresses and my grandparents, and oh my God.
Dan, I don't know if we're on number 6 or not, but I do have a contribution. Maybe we can
I didn't catch 5, so.
What's that?
I didn't catch a number 5.
Was there a number 5?
We'll make this number 5.
I don't know. I would recommend printing out a book for, there's a gal that I was visiting with at the gym, and that's how I got my first listing. She was never ever going to sell, and I just said, well, why don't, I just brought her a listing book through Catalina Title and just offered some contribution. And 2 weeks later, she called me and said, I want you to list the house. So if we could think of something we could do to maybe provide, I don't know if it's pop buys for business to business or printing a listing book for somebody, like as if you get the listing, you know? It's just an idea.
I like it. So business to business stuff.
Either you could do pop buys, or think of one person if you're really listening on listening and looking, you know, who may be interested in selling. Like when you see vehicles outside, painters and plumbing guys in your neighborhood, just, oh, hey, what's going on over here? I dropped off a listing book 2 next door from me because I see they're having some activity. So I'm hopeful to be the agent of choice, you know, but I'm checking in periodically. I'm just letting you all know that's how I got my first listing, was by coming from a place of contribution.
So how about this? When you guys are doing an open house, to tag on number 5, when you're doing an open house, why don't you go to the neighborhood businesses and say, hey, can I get some value of yours, or a 1-page menu, or some kind of sheet that I can hand out during my open house to people that are prospective buyers in this area that may not know that you exist. Right? You think that might start generating some bilateral interest where they're like, oh, well, do you have a flyer I can put up for you? Or can I have your information? There's a lot of privately owned restaurants and businesses and support that when we're doing open houses, we can say, hey, did you know that there's a monkey business down the street? It's a really cool pub and eatery. How much would that cost you?
If it's free, it's for me. It's free.
Okay.
Little time, if time is money, but.
Okay, so we've got 5 opportunities right now that are, and only one of them costs money. Can we get a 6th? What should you be doing already?
Lead generating.
From?
Sphere of influence.
Thank you. What does that cost you, Miss Robin?
Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
I just picked up 2 leads this week from Sphere of Influence. One's a potential listing, and the other one's a potential buyer referral from one I closed on 2 weeks ago.
What does the Sphere of Influence cost you?
0.
How much money do you guys have right now to throw at lead generation?
Not a lot.
Lead with revenue. When you close a deal, put $100 or so away for marketing or what have you, whatever you want to do. I say 30% towards your marketing because it's always going to grow your business. It might be as low as 10, 15% now, but there are 5 plans here. Let's recap them. We can call other agents from other markets, create referral networks, yeah? What markets are you going to pick?
The migration ones from the map.
Yes, great point. The migration, I like that. The migration ones. So
Big
Oregon,
cities.
Colorado, Denver, Colorado Springs. Do we not have one of the world's largest Air Force bases? What other cities and towns in the United States have large Air Force bases? Florida, Jacksonville, right?
Colorado area.
Colorado Springs, Georgia, South Carolina, Anchorage. That's an Army base. Never mind. That's Fort Huachuca. But I want you guys to realize, go make some friends in these markets. Add people to your database. That's going to be part of your dripping system. It's going to take some extra finger work, dialing the phone numbers, calling somebody up, make a friend. Number 2, door knocking and canvassing, right? What points of value can you give when you're doing that?
We can be introducing ourselves as our neighborhood expert just in our own area where we really are the neighborhood expert.
Okay. What else can you do, Mike?
For door knocking. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Get their information. We get their information, and maybe that of others.
All right. let's say you're the client. What point of value would be beneficial to you if someone came up to your house randomly?
Knowing that there was other people that were looking to buy in this neighborhood.
Okay. What else?
Market
What would
statistics.
get you right there at the door to actually engage in conversation with somebody?
Who are you? I don't know who you're asking.
I want you to, as a consumer, there's no wrong answer here. I want you to say, okay, if someone came to my door and was offering, you know, a home valuation, hey, I don't know if you knew this or not, but your home in this market's gone up 15%. Do you know what your house is worth? Would that be information you'd like to know on the monthly basis? I might say yes. Someone comes to my door and says, hey, my name is Dan Caldwell. I'm a local realtor in this neighborhood. I just wanted to come by and let you know that I'm the market and area expert. Okay, great. Have a nice day. What else can you do?
I loved, who was it that did the food truck? That was such a neat idea.
Anthony Sotelo.
Sotelo.
Mike, do you know every one of your neighbors in your industrial complex?
Yeah, there's not very many there.
Do you know every one of them?
Yeah.
Why do you know every one of them?
Because there's 4 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Who went over to where and who started the conversation?
usually it's out in the parking lot, just, passing through, passing through. Obviously, the one next door, it's introduction, they moved in after me, so introduction to who I am, and they asked me questions about it when they were going to rent and everything like that.
So do you think introducing yourself to your neighbors might be important?
Mm-hmm.
Can we all do that?
Yep.
True story, 2 o'clock today, or 1:30, I got a call from my neighbor. His name is Will. He lives in Washington half the year. He calls me up, says, hey, Big D, I don't know if I should be alarmed, but there's no cars in your driveway and your garage door is open. You want me to go check on it? I was like, no, man. Let me ask you a question. Is there a big pile of trash in the middle of the garage? He's like, no, it looks pretty clean. I was like, no, my mom probably went to the dump then. So yeah, no reason for alarm. He goes, oh, somebody's pulling in right now. Your friend with the white car is back. Do you think that if somebody in his sphere of influence is looking for a house, he's got any other realtor in mind? So canvassing and door knocking can be as simple as introducing yourself to your neighbors. Mike, don't you live in an apartment complex now?
Yeah.
How many people in your apartment complex fucking hate that place and can't wait to move out and get their own place?
Probably a lot.
You want to know something? As a tenant and a resident of that apartment complex, it's probably really easy for you to go around and hand out some handouts and saying, hey, do you fucking hate this place? Do you want your own driveway? Are you tired of fighting for a spot to park? Does it piss you off when someone parks in your spot? And when they ask you, well, you live here, why don't you have your own place? Oh, I dumped all my money into my other business. And they'll laugh just like you did.
Not far from the truth.
I know your life, but see, this is making you uncomfortable because it's stuff that you can do right now. It's simple stuff.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
And whoever's behind you, Renee, make them go knock on doors for you.
What am I supposed to do?
But that's the thing. It's,
Go knock on doors and tell everyone I'm a realtor.
Oh.
my mama does. Mama Caldwell is one of my best cheerleaders. Swear to God. But that's the thing is I want you to start doing these things. They're free for you to do, and you should do them every day. Take a walk like Hope does. She takes a walk in her neighborhood every day. I don't know if she's still doing it. She was doing it for her 75 hard. But every morning she's going out and walking in her neighborhood. I'm not saying you need to wake up every morning and walk in your neighborhood. Mike, I know for a fact you don't have time in the morning.
Get one already though?
But that could be the thing is go out of your way to meet somebody. Go out of your way to make an introduction.
Yeah, you can make
Just once a day.
videos. I know how to do it.
What that's going to do for you. And especially in a situation like like when I lived in an apartment complex, I knew my neighbors because you're past them going up and down the stairs. You're past them going to the laundry room. You're past them going to the gym, like wherever. And I was 13. Same thing in my neighborhood. Like I compete with multiple realtors on my street alone. But I want to make sure that my neighbors know me top of mind. So go introduce myself. I go out of my way to talk to them all the time. It's that little bit you do every day for 15 or 20 minutes. Just go make a friend, go say hi, go check in on them. That's that simple. So number 2, pretty easy, right? Door, adding something of value. When you go to the door, have something of value. You can be the value. People want to know their neighbor. Hey, it's super important for me to be, know my neighborhood so that if anything happens, we can communicate. I think the Nextdoor app just isn't good enough. I want to know who lives next door.
I know all my neighbors because of wifey is a chef. So anytime somebody moves in, we always make them something and then welcome them to the neighborhood and then start a conversation. So if any of you like to bake or like to do any type of food, it's a good idea to do that too.
Every one of those people better be in your database, Jason.
They are.
I'm saying that's going to be a big thing for you because that's database retention. Mailing list, you get them a postcard, you get them a happy birthday card. If you don't know their birthday, send them a birthday card in July. I didn't know when your birthday was, but I figured it was at least 6 months from today. Or at least it was 6 months ago. Happy birthday. These are simple things, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on stuff. You can handwrite a birthday card. Number 3, circle prospecting. What's it going to cost you?
A phone call to title.
Okay. Or
Send you an address.
send me an address. I'll half mile circle prospect a list back to you. Takes me a couple minutes. How do you circle prospect? What are you going to do?
I would think for people that have equity in their home.
You can do that. Whatever the list you want to pull, I'm just going to pull numbers.
I would say 7 years, they'd have to have at least 7 years of ownership.
The title company can pull a little bit more in depth like that. So if you want those kind of lists, or just introduce yourself. Hey, Mike, it's uncommon. Sorry. What's the word I'm looking for? See, I skip on these things. So
Not typical, not standard.
yeah, unstandard, but
Unorthodox.
all right. Hey, Mike, it's Big Dan Caldwell. It's unlikely you know who I am. I don't know if you know this or not. There's a house on your street that just sold this week. Would it be important to you to know what your house's value is? Hey, Hope, it's unlikely you know who I am. I sell a lot of houses in your neighborhood. I'm with Keller Williams in Southern Arizona. My name is Big Dan. I actually have an open house coming on, next week, blah, 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 on the 3rd on 123 Main Street. Who do you know that might want to live in this neighborhood? Hey, Robin, this is Big Dan Caldwell at Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. It's unlikely you know who I am. I'm an area expert here. I live in the neighborhood, and it's important for me to know my community, so I wanted to reach out to make sure you had my phone number and contact information in the event that you needed anything housing related. And that includes getting a contractor or some kind of servicing. So in the event you have a repair that you need, I have a ton of resources, and I love to give those to my community. It's that simple, guys. Facebook ads. Facebook ads is where things get crazy. Number 4, Facebook ads. Throw some money behind them. You're going to need money. That's the only downside to a Facebook ad, but you can generate good. Jay did a $30 lead or $50 lead campaign, and he generated 37 leads. Do you think there's a deal in there somewhere? Okay.
What kind of campaign did he do?
He did a showcase listing to attract buyers. So, number 5, business to business. How do we handle that one, Hope?
I don't know if you guys are like me, but I collect business cards everywhere I go. So just start calling and have that business to business script in front of you about how you all could help each other in the business. So that's a good place to start. If you don't have enough business cards, go buy, if you're getting a lube and oil change, something like that, they have cards you can collect there. So don't rule anybody out. Anybody that you know is in small business. You can also do, I saw recently a Facebook post where they're like, do you have a small business that you want to promote? Let me know. And then that's another way to engage.
One thing that I used to do on the previous jobs, started in New York as a hockey team, but usually when the restaurants have those bowls that you can win a lunch, I would drop one of my business cards in there and take a handful of those. One, so I get a better chance of winning, and I just have a whole handful of people that I could call on to do any kind of marketing that I was doing.
You took their name out of the hat?
Oh, yeah.
So lots of stuff. Number 6, and my favorite, sphere of influence. How do we lead gen from our sphere of influence?
You pick up the phone. Pick up the phone, have a Ford sandwich, ask for a referral. Is that the right answer?
Yeah, Ford sandwich, ask for referrals, make a connection, create mind share. So what else can you do for your sphere of influence?
I think the care calls and just staying top of mind, it's just communicating, and so they know that you're thinking of them and they think of you in return.
I agree with that. And then also doing a different kind of touch though, also a postcard occasionally. There's a gal that I've been trying to get a listing from. She's a friend of mine in my sphere, and I'm having a hard time connecting with her on the phone. So I printed up some things that would be helpful to her about her property. And I'm going to just physically drop it off to her this week. So I'm going to try to pin her and just do a different touch, if you will, to try to get the business. So I think we have to be pretty assertive. Ask for the business.
Ask for the business, exactly. These people owe you money. I like to think that way. I go after leads like they owe me money.
Well, Dan, another way we could look at it too is we're all great agents and we don't want them to get a bad agent. So I start that way too, like you deserve me. You know what I mean? Or I know I'm going to do a good job for you. So let's make this a win-win. Help me help you.
Who's going to be a better agent, you or the guy that had his buyer sign on the seller's line?
Me, of course.
Right? Who's going to be a better agent, you or the agent that forgot about the Benzer until 3 days before closing? Yes, it happened. Who's going to be a better agent, you?
How does that happen 3 days before closing?
He submitted it 3 days before closing. Only 20 some days late. And his buyers try to cancel.
Dan, we need to think like we're just the best agent in town. I don't know if that's an affirmation or what, but I was door knocking when I first started, and I saw an 80-year-old man, and I asked if I could text him something. And he looked like he did not even have an iPhone, much less anything else. But I was getting some coaching along the way. And did I make an error in asking that? I at least got his address, his physical address, and I sent him a postcard. But my point of it is, during my coaching, because I was working with a fellow agent, they asked me, they said, if you could rate yourself 1 to 10 right now, as far as an agent, what would you give yourself? And I said I would give myself a 7.5, maybe. Because I felt lousy for asking an 80-year-old if I could text him. And then the person that I was with, my coach at the time, said, you're a 10. You're a 10. You're able to help people because you have a heart. You're coming from a good place. You're a 10 today. So maybe we ought to think like that we're a 10. It did something to my mindset that I thought, I am better than that. I do have a heart. I want to help people. I don't know if that helps.
No, I think that's helpful. And honestly, like, I feel like I've got a long ways to go, but when I call and talk to agents, you know, about listings, or like the 2 that I was dealing with the past couple of days, they do not answer their phones. They'll answer a text maybe, but they will not answer their phones to get on and have a conversation. And that's one thing I make sure that I, you know, throughout all the processes, I make sure I'm available and can talk and negotiate and find the win-win. The associate broker that I had to break the news last night that we weren't going to move forward on the contract, her response was, "Oh, so your buyer wasn't interested at all in the first place." I said he was, but it's a condo that he's only planning on being there 6 months to a year, and then wants to rent it out. If there's no guarantee of rental, it doesn't fit what he needs to do. But she was just upset because we weren't moving forward on the contract.
You're going to find a lot of unprofessional agents out there. And I just ask that you guys all please elevate yourselves to the level of expectation of Gary Keller. Work as if Gary Keller were sitting next to you all day. And Mo Anderson was looking over all your texts. Renee's got a cat. Cat butt. No, I've shared with you guys this piece of advice that I got from Danny Roth a few times, and I'll always share it. The 2 things that he told me when I first started with Keller Williams, kind of like $1 million tip from Danny, was always answer your phone. He'll tell your clients that you always answer your phone, and you're never going to be rude, and you don't want them to feel like you're being rude. Just know that when they're not with you, you will answer their call, and they'll be able to get a hold of you as well. They're not quick phone call conversations. They're usually right in and out like you guys saw, and you get right back to it. But you have that conversation and set that precedent up front. And then secondly, nothing's a waste of your time if you can learn from it. You got a client that drags you around and looks at 19 houses that day and decides not to buy a house and want to rent for another year. Was that a waste of your time?
Oh.
Why not?
Because you could stay in touch with them, you nurture them. I've got one like that now. They were working on building their credit, and in a year from now, I'm going to be their agent of choice.
Also, you got to go out and look at 19 houses in your marketplace. You have a better understanding of your marketplace. You went out and looked at what's on the market right now, at what price point, in what area. Does that make you a lot better than you were yesterday?
Yes.
So it's a learning experience. It's crafting. It's honing your skills. It teaches you the power of a buyer consultation, where you're not running around all day at 35 different houses. So, all right, guys, a couple more minutes left. And if you got anything else, throw it at me. By the way, Mike, where'd you get the red cup? I'm going to need one of those.
It's a Yeti.
Nice red cup. Mine's blue.
I have red Solo cups if you want one.
Could I go back to, I thought it was a Superfund site, but it's actually a water quality assurance revolving fund site. Was it the W Corp?
How many properties are in our neighborhood? Probably 98.
I'll have to look into that, dude.
It sounds like DEQ would be the one to help at Pima County. Is it in Pima County?
I've got the website up that shows the map and everything. I just want to make sure that, so we're in our inspection, we're day one, our inspection period. And then I just want to make sure that, this doesn't somehow provide a hiccup. I've already sent the lender or the loan officer a text asking to make sure that that doesn't cause a problem with funding.
Yeah, so it could just be something that was released, but it could have been cleaned up already. Do they know when it happened?
No, I don't know when it happened. But basically it says scores are used to help determine relative risk at the site and do not necessarily mean that there was a direct risk to humans or the environment.
Yeah, it could just be the periphery of a situation that happened and they just have to, they're covering the whole area, so.
Like a disclosure or something.
Right. Like, this may or may not have been an issue,
Okay.
so they have to disclose it.
Also, I asked, I kind of asked Nancy about this a while ago, but so when we go in and set up a loop and it asks, to link like a listing to it. Well, I found out you can't change that linked listing to the loop itself. So is everybody going in and creating their loop with their buyer and filling out every, so in other words, say we put in an offer and it gets rejected, but they don't have a listing linked to that loop, correct, until later? How's everybody doing that? Because, so I started loop, I put in the MLS to link it to autofill it, but then when I go to make another folder for a new contract, I've got a listing linked and it autofills that prior one, not the new one.
I would just start over. I don't know.
A new loop, yeah.
I just start with the buyer's name until we find something. And then if I do end up putting it in an address, I do a whole new loop. It's a big recommend.
It's cutting out.
We lost you.
I would just go in and start a new loop though, Michael.
The only reason why I wasn't gonna do the new loop is because some of the files, like the ABA, the ready file and all that stuff, basically have to drag it back in or start it over. I guess that's why I was trying to avoid that, because I was trying to make one general loop, and then if we find a property, put an offer in, create a folder for that, and if it gets rejected, then I just archive that folder and start with another one is what I was
yeah, and I was in the tech committee meeting today, and they think that we'll be switching over to DocuSign completely by November. So
Yeah, that's what we're doing is we're going to start
and we can actually, they said that we can actually do stuff in DocuSign now and then upload it into .loop if you want to. Which
Yes. What's your zip code, Renee?
85718.
Yeah, so start doing it and start playing with it just to get used to it because it's going to change. You want to make sure that you get familiar with it before it shuts down. I personally, I'm going to tell this to you guys, and I'm going to pause